Hi, everybody. My name's Brian, and welcome to 2025. It's been a great year in terms of being involved in the vinyl community. I'm about 9 months in now, and I really want to thank everybody who's supported me along the way and helped out with advice and just tuning in. It's been absolutely wonderful. I'm going today to do Fluffy's vinyl tag of 2025, and thanks, Fluffy, because there are some great questions here, and most of them I was able to get an answer for pretty quickly. They made me think, they made me laugh, but they made me pull out an album and give it a play, which is really cool as well. Because, as many of you might know, I got rid of all of my records in the 1990s, except for a very small few. And so there are some vinyl tags out there that I just am unable to complete. I can't do the soundtrack one, I can't do the jazz one, I can't do the CD one. I certainly can't do Mazzy's Impossible Fantasy Whack-A-Mole one, which I would have loved to have had a go at, but who's got an album with somebody's dad on the cover? Brilliant question still. And I wasn't able to do John from the 6-inch Penis Funk and Soul tag as much as I would love to. But interestingly enough, I was going to do a version of that tag, and I was going to use one album for every question and see how far I got with it, just as a sort of bit of fun. But and if you want to know what that album is, just hang around to the end because it's the last album I'm going to show. Anyway, I've already done Edwin's vinyl tag for this year and John's sad bastard vinyl tag. And so thanks to Fluffy, I'm really looking forward to sharing some more music with you, some more stories and some of my favorite albums on the Fluffy's vinyl tag for 2025. So thanks to Fluffy. Let's get to it. Let's get right to it. Question one, starting off the year right, the first record you spun to start the year. Mine is The Glove and their album Blue Sunshine. Sorry about the shrink wrap there. I've already done a deep dive video on this, which is coming out in the next week or so, and also put it in another video. But it's Robert Smith from The Cure, Stephen Severin from the Banshees. This is a wonderful 1990 US first release on blue vinyl. The album came out in 1983, and it's highly recommended for sort of post-punk, new wave psychedelia. Absolutely astonishing. Love it. Second question, an album originally released in a year that ends in 5. I'm going 1975 with Roxy Music's Siren. I absolutely adore this album. It is my favorite of the first 5 Roxy Music albums, although they all have moments when they could be my favorite. But this one I have a special attachment to because it's the last album that I stole from my sister, and I still have in my collection. Great songs on here. It's got Love is the Drug. Sentimental Fool is probably my favorite song on the album. She Sells, Nightingale, Birth Ends Burning. It's perfect from start to finish. That's Roxy Music's Siren from 1975. Number 3 is a non-stop play. Show a record. Oh, Jesus. Just dropped the box set. Anyway, show a record you couldn't stop playing last year. And this one, my vinyl tag, was my favorite purchase. And it is the Clouds box set. The Clouds are an Australian band from the 90s, and they're still going. Just recently saw them. Did a deep dive video on this box set. But if I had to choose one album out of this box set that I would recommend to everybody, it's this one. It's called Futura. And Futura came out in 1996. It's on Red Eye Records. And if we open it up, great picture of the band. And it is on white vinyl on the Red Eye label. Really super cool album. Question 4. My 25th album on Discogs that I purchased this year. And this one is John Lee Hooker's Boom Boom. I think this is fantastic. That's not what I was going to say. I love this album so much. I've been waiting for this album for a long time. I used to play his Blues Before Sunrise album from way back in the day every night before I went to bed, and it just rocked me off to sleep like Jake and Elwood at the start of the Blues Brothers when those L trains going clackety, clackety, clackety across. But this album I particularly love for side 1 because it has every John Lee Hooker song I need, really. Boom Boom, I'm in the Mood, Hobo Blues, Crawling King Snake, No Shoes, Baby Lee. What do we got there? Walking the Boogie, Rambling by Myself, and probably my favorite, Little Wheel. I've been waiting for a John Lee Hooker compilation, which has all of those songs pretty much on one side, and there it is. Okay, favorite release of 2024. Isn't it wonderful when one of your very favorite bands produces an album late in their career that you absolutely adore? And this is the case with Underworld's album, Strawberry Hotel. A brilliant release from this year. I was lucky enough to see them at the Sydney Opera House this year, and they were incredible. The only problem for me was I was stuck right in front of a bass speaker in the second row, and it was like a physical thing, which was going boom, 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 and I couldn't make it through the entire show. Anyway, well, it's the price you pay, I suppose. And yeah, so it's a gatefold sleeve. And the back has a picture of Carl and Rick. And there's so many good songs on here. It's just a perfect album from start to finish. A couple of bangers, a lot of mid-tempo stuff, and really excellent. Here we go, a purple or gold album. And this one I'm going with, got to get my obligatory church reference in. I'm going with Kilby Kennedy, which is Steve Kilby from the church, and Martin Kennedy from All India Radio, and their album Glow and Fade. And this is from 2017. Now, this album is a spacey psychedelic masterpiece from start to finish. It's even got the gold vinyl there. Absolutely beautiful. I can't recommend this one highly enough to you. If you like the church, if you would like to hear them go on more spacey psychedelic sort of excursions, then that's definitely an album for you. Perfectly will get you in the mood every time. 2017, and that is Glow and Fade by Kilby Kennedy. A live album from California. Fluffy, this was the one I thought you were going to get me on. But seeing I'm a San Francisco Giants supporter, and I've even got my gold Giants jersey on today, I figured I'd be able to be fine. And how better to do a live album from California than the Grateful Dead's Live Dead. To me, it's my favorite Grateful Dead album, and it is one of the seminal, most important albums in my life. Incredible album, and look at the gatefold. Absolutely beautiful. This is a 1971 UK repress, I believe. And this is the second copy I've had in my collection. The first time I saw this copy was at a place called Super Trash, and I think it was going for something like $80, or then it went down to $60. And the reason for that is the album's not in great condition. It's been well loved, let's say, over the years. It's seen a few things. It's been to a few parties, and it's tripped out. It's tuned out, tripped up, whatever the expression is. And one of the sides, which is side 3 with Turn On Your Love Light, is Love Light. That's wishful thinking. Turn on your love life. Anyway, one of the sides is virtually unplayable, but it was at $40, and then they were having a 30% off sale. I got it for $27 just to hear the majesty of Dark Star. And do you know what? It plays beautifully. So I'm absolutely thrilled to have that in my collection, and that is my live San Francisco album. An album with a person, like a cigarette, on the cover, smoking it. Well, not smoking on this occasion, but I've got David Bowie with Changes to Bowie. Now, confession to make, I'm one of those weird people whose favorite Bowie albums are Earthling and Outside. Yep, I love the drum and bass experiments from the 1990s. I think they're groundbreaking. I think they're brilliant. I don't think he was following trends. I think he was starting trends. That's just me. And apart from that, I think I've got one other David Bowie album from the same period, might be Reality. And then I've got this compilation, which I think is absolutely fantastic, even though it's got a few moldy marks on it. And there's the track list. And apart from sort of a remix of John I'm Only Dancing, it's fantastic. It's great. I specifically got it because I love all of these songs, but particularly Ashes to Ashes and Robert's frippery, where he's spray painting guitar all over fashion. an absolutely killer album. I know I should have more Bowie. I know I'm a bad person, but what can we do? A black and white album, and I've gone with Fiction Tales from Modern Eon. This is out on 1981, and this is on Din Disc. And I learnt about this band from the New Trouser Press Record Guide, which is, as I've said in another video, what I consider to be sort of like the Bible of post-punk and new wave reviews. And they said here that it has originality, stylishness, as well as flashes of accessibility. Occasional use of odd instrumentation and a good drummer makes this more than just a routine genre exercise. So if you like your goth, you like your post-punk, then I really recommend Modern Eon Fiction Tales to you from 1981. You won't be disappointed. I love the section on the second side, which has child's play, choreography, and how do we pronounce it? Euthenics. Brilliant section. Brilliant moment. I could have gone for this next one as well. An artist you've recently revisited, which also has a black and white cover. And this is Junior Wells' Chicago Blues Band from 1965, the first album of the Chicago Blues Band and one of the pioneering albums of Chicago electric blues. I think this is an astonishing album. I used to listen to quite a bit of Junior Wells back in the day. I found out about him because, of course, of the Blues Brothers Briefcase Full of Blues soundtrack when they played Messing with a Kid. Got into that song, got into a few albums of that time, but particularly I love this album because of the work of Buddy Guy. It's magnificent from start to finish. I can really do without another version of Good Morning Little Schoolgirl. I'll never really want to hear that song again, but still, it is a killer, an absolute wonderful album. This is a reissue. I don't know from what year, but it is on the Delmark label. So that's pretty cool as well. A record, number 11. I hope I'm getting all of these right and not missing out any. Anyway, number 11, a record that another VC person put you onto. Now, I'm not sure Andy Edwards is a VC person, but he's probably my number one watch on YouTube, and he does talk a lot about vinyl. And he put me onto this album, which is Visions of the Emerald Beyond by the Mahavishnu Orchestra. And this album is from 1975. This is an original New Zealand pressing. Isn't that a beautiful cover, front and back? Now, here's the thing with the Mahavishnu Orchestra. I was sort of tried to get into them about 10 years ago and always found there were roadblocks in the albums that I was listening to. Like when the music just got too much, too violent, too intense, too fast. And the moments between light and shade were really exacerbated in those areas. And so it was through watching Andy Edwards that he said this was his favorite album of all time that I thought, one day if I see that, I'm going to pick it up. And I was at the aforementioned Super Trash, and somebody had obviously offloaded all of their Mahavishnu Orchestra albums because they were all there, and I was flicking through, and I saw that album for $15, beaten up, had a past life, maybe reincarnated and been around between 3 or 4 owners, but it plays beautifully. And there's no moments on that which are just too intense for me. So I would say that if you're like me and find the Mahavishnu Orchestra a little bit difficult, a bit of a challenging listen, then this would be a good way to get an entry point into the Mahavishnu Orchestra. But as Andy always says, if you find an album challenging, you probably haven't found the right way to listen to it yet. What are we up to now? Number 12, an album that I have a hot take on. I have done a deep dive video on this. I'll put the link down below, and I've done that with a couple of albums here. So I won't spend long on it, but it's Waiting for the Sun by The Doors from 1968. This is a 2018 repressing, which sounds really good, except it's a little bit quiet. And I suppose I should open the gatefold because here's my hot take. And the hot take is, if Jim had have only sobered up and the band had have got it together and been able to produce Celebration of the Lizard and made that the entirety of side 2, chucked Waiting for the Sun onto the first side, and we would have had an album there which challenged or was as great as the first 2 albums. That's what I'm saying. Could you have got it together for us, please, boys? But if not, that's fine. The album as it is a beautiful album and a great listen to. But just if you want to read more about my hot take and my ideas about it, check out the link below. 13. Question 13 is the second album was the best in honor of Rob Walker. Okay, don't shoot me down, don't kill me, but I'm one of those people who think that this album is Radiohead's best. Yes, it's the Bends, and I can't tell you how clearly I remember the first time I heard this album, and I heard it on CD. Got it back home, put it on the stereo, nice and loud. I listened to it from start to finish without a single sentence being said, no conversation or anything. And at the end of it, I looked at my partner and I said, "I think I've just heard the greatest album I've heard." Or did I say, "I think I might have just heard the future of music," and it was this album, The Bends. Now, I know that Radiohead have done some great music since then, and my only problem with them, with these other albums, is that they're not the Bends, part 2, part 3, part 4, which is completely opposite and anathema to the way I normally think about music. I like my bands to grow and evolve, but sometimes an album comes out which is so perfect, I just want to hear it done again. So, if that makes any sense. But anyway, brilliant songs on here. And, you know, they were edgy, they were rocking, they just went for it. And with songs like Just and My Iron Lung, I mean, they are metallic almost, in your face. But that's then countered by the beauty of Bulletproof, I Wish I Was, and Fake Plastic Trees. Just a gorgeous album. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. So next is a shout out to a member of the VC community. And I'd like to shout out a VC channel which I think started at a similar time to mine and has gone from strength to strength, and that is Married to Vinyl. Hi guys, I think your channel is absolutely brilliant. You speak with such passion, such enthusiasm and exuberance about what you love. And the best part of it is that what you love and what I love are so similar so much of the time, particularly our love of the church. So to everybody else out there, if you haven't seen Married to Vinyl, check out the guys. Every video is absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much. Question 15, an album that begins with F. And I've gone for Felt Mountain by Goldfrapp. Look at that for a bizarre album cover. Always think there's a face in there, or a lion, or a tiger, or something like that. Maybe they have the lion tigers or the ligers on Felt Mountain. But look at this beautiful gatefold. That's what Felt Mountain is all about. Absolutely stunning. And then the back cover is absolutely gorgeous as well. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Goldfrapp, but this is an electronic duo, and it really gives us that sense of a smoke-filled room. It's sensual, it's beautiful, it's euphoric, it's ethereal, and it also has moments where you sense that they could be the soundtrack to a James Bond film. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The song Lovely Head was my introduction to it, and it's a killer song. But I also love Pilots, I love Felt Mountain, and Utopia is about the most perfectly utopian version of a song called Utopia one could ever wish for. It's incredible. It soars, it's euphoric, and what a voice Alison Goldfrapp has. So that's Felt Mountain by Goldfrapp. Let's move on. An album with a smile on the cover, and why wouldn't he be smiling? Look at him. He's come a long way, baby. I'm number one, so why try harder? Could have been my guy with a cigarette as well, but he's having a good smile because he's into Fatboy Slim. And this is a killer cover of it. It's released originally in 1998, but this is the 2018 double vinyl deluxe edition on BMG. And I definitely can praise this album, although I must say I am sick to death with that song Praise You. I really decided to go for this because once again Super Trash were having a 30% sale off, and I ended up getting it for about $28 or something like that. And I remember being on a Qantas flight one night. I was coming home from London, I believe, and I was playing around and listening to some music. And Right Here, Right Now came on, and I'd forgotten how energetic that song was, so I had to pull the trigger on it. Great, and very happy to have done it. Next one is 17, and it's a musician featured in a movie. Now, I might be cheating here, but I'm going with this one because I don't know that I've ever really spoken very much about this guy on my channel, but his name is Prince, and he is funky. and this is his movie Sign of the Times, which was shot in Rotterdam when he was on tour in 1987. And once again, it holds such a dear place in my heart because I was on a flight from London to Sydney, and I was having the worst time I think I've had on a plane. Couldn't go to sleep. My legs were killing me. I'd already got up my 10,000 steps. And I was thinking, how in the hell am I going to get through to the end of the flight? And so this was on the entertainment list. And so I started playing that. And that song, I would have to say, is my favorite song by His Purpleness. Absolutely adore it. Now, when I watched that video that night, it all of a sudden put me in a great mood. I watched it twice right through, and I was coming into Sydney just cooking and flying and very happy. And another thing is, I sort of fell in love with Cat Glover that night. R.I.P. Cat. You were just absolutely incredible. The perfect foil to Prince as well. Thank you for everything, Cat. Beautiful. Anyway, there we go. That's that one. Now, how about an album with a Great Gatefold? And this is from 1970. This is an Australian pressing, and I'm going with Canned Heat's Future Blues, which I think is an astonishingly good album. But it also has, I'm really happy to say, a gatefold, which I love. And there it is. Look at that. The Redwoods of California. Beautiful. And there's even a message in here about saving the redwoods in here, which I just can't read for the time being. I know it's a huge message. It's right down the side here, so I'm not going to read it all to you. I'm sure you can find it online. But that is my gatefold, and it's Canned Heat's Future Blues, which is a fantastic album. Blind Al Wilson's last, R.I.P., last album with the band as well. Question 19, a record that gets me pumped up. Lots of albums could get me pumped up, but there's only one. It's from 1990 that really is going to, oops, better not show that. It's really always going to do the job for me, and that's Ritual de la Habitual by Jane's Addiction. I don't know that I'm supposed to show that, so let's flip it over. This is from 1990, and this is a 2023 Warner Brothers repress, and I'm extremely happy to have this in my collection. And the song that really gets me going every time is Ain't No Right Now When You're Wrong, and also Stops, an incredible song, Being Caught Stealing. How good is this album? The repress on red vinyl, so it's like we're seeing red and we're getting energetic and going for it with a bit of Jane's Addiction. Stop fighting though, Perry. Stop fighting. I don't know. Take care. Take a bit of time out. All right, an album I wish I could go back and experience for the first time again. It's my favorite album, and I've shown it before, so I'm going to be brief with this. It's Country Joe and the Music and the Fishes, electric music for the mind and body. I'd love to go back to this time. I would love to go back to the discovery of this. It was my first real understanding of what real psychedelia is all about and what real acid rock is all about. There's nothing that's less than sensational in this album, with the potential for the country and western song Sad and Lonely Times. But that's how great this album is, that there's one song on it that I don't particularly love, but every other song is just so significantly higher than it that it holds, they hold the weight of that one song up. So that's that one. And that's the 20 questions that we've gone through. That's a 1967 Australian pressing on Vanguard. But let's do the bonus questions, Fluffy. You put them in, I'm going to do them. So here we go. Show a 10-inch or a 7-inch. I don't own a 10-inch. I can't believe it. In fact, I think I've only owned one 10-inch in my life, and that was Temperature Drop in Downtown Winterland by The Church. You guessed it. But like a fool, I gave it away back in the 90s. So here is a 7-inch, which I recently got. And the key to this 7-inch, this single, and I've been talking a bit about it on my channel, is that it's the last of the singles, I believe, that I got rid of or gave away in the 90s that I really wanted to get back. And this is 1983's Something's Happening by Stupidity on the Hot label. And if you want to get some good garage psych, garage rock, just listen to that first side, Something's Happening. And if you want the second side for something really cool and 60s orientated, they do a cracking version of the theme from the TV series The Sweeney. So that's Stupidity and Something's Happening. Love that one. My favorite reissue of 2024. Well, you'd think it would be The Clouds, but it's not, because this has finally been reissued, and it is From the Lion's Mouth by The Sound, their second album. And this is an incredible album, and it's so good to see that most of their albums are now available for on reissue. And the whole album's insane from start to finish. But if you just want to dip your toes in, just start with Winning, because it is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. Adrian Borland is the real mastermind here, but behind the songwriting, the lyrics, and a tragic life. But what he left for us was pure winning. So that's my favorite reissue. An album of a musician you would have liked to or would like to see in a movie, and I'm assuming as a soundtrack to a movie. Well, there's so many dystopian I am robot type movies these days that I'm going to say, has this one ever been in the soundtrack? Metamatic by John Fox. I mean, it is a cutting edge album from 1980, which really goes into that whole dystopic, futuristic, robotic, mechanical sort of a warning, a cautionary tale against technological advances in our world. I love Plaza. Underpass is so good, even though I wish I could hear anything other than Underpants. I love A New Kind of Man. Blurred Girl is an absolute ridiculously cool song, as is Metal Beat and No One Driving. It's just perfect of the genre. I mean, if you like Gary Newman, you're going to love this, and it's every bit as good. So that's John Fox and Metamatic. A record or a friend gifted you in the year. Well, I've got two friends who do tend to gift me a lot of records. One's the Sunburnt Sailor, and I've done a deep dive on this album that he gifted me, which is Hawkwind's In Search of Space. Really happy to have that in my collection. And I've also done a deep dive just recently uploaded to YouTube on King B's gift to me for the end of the year, and that was the Rain Parade's Emergency Third Rail Power Trip, which is one of my favorite albums from this year. So really happy to have that one. And now a record, finally, a record featuring a spoken word track. And this is the one that I was going to enter into John's the 6-inch penis soul and funk vinyl tag and use it as the answer for every song. And I was going to do that in a loving, satirical way, not in a way that was meant to make fun of the whole process, because these tags are great. I mean, we get to know each other. I've met so many people through doing these tags, but I guess you want to know what it is. And the album is Mr. Isaac Hayes, To Be Continued. This is my favorite soul funk album of all time, and it's one that I have really been so pleased to get back in my collection. And I never had it on vinyl before back in the day. And the spoken section is the opening monologue, Ike's Rap, where Ike has just received his greetings and has to go off to Vietnam, and he has to tell his girlfriend or his wife at the time that their day will come and that things will be fantastic in the future. That is a perfect side of music with Ike's Rap. Then Our Day Will Come, followed by Skip Pitts and his amazing guitar solo in The Look of Love. So really recommend that one to you if you're not familiar with it. Isaac Hayes, To Be Continued. So, whew, are you still with me? There we go. 25 questions, brilliantly put together by Fluffy. Thank you so much, man. And I've got a lot of pleasure going through these albums, but also through the questions. And as I always say, remember that if music of any sound, style, shape, or substance gives you pleasure, then who am I to argue with your opinion? If you enjoyed going through this journey with me, how about thinking about giving this video a like, or maybe even smashing that subscribe button, because you know you want to. Anyway, up until we meet again next time on the next video, I hope you're all doing super well. I hope you have a brilliant start to 2025. And until we meet, bye now.